Hello everyone, it's Dr. Sam. I'd like to welcome you to my EyeClarity podcast. This is a show that offers cutting-edge information on how to improve your vision and overall wellness through holistic methods. I so appreciate you spending part of your day with me. If you have questions, you can send them to hello@drsamberne.com. Now, to the latest EyeClarity episode. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sam, and I'd like to welcome you to another EyeClarity podcast. Before we get to today's show, you can now text me your messages at 844-932-1291. That's 844-932-1291. You can also send me an email, hello@drsamberne.com. So today I want to dive into the conversation around red light, retina health, and Drusen. I'm very excited about this topic because finally there's research that validates the things that I've been doing for over 30 years, especially in the field of light and color therapy. So I want to share about a study that was done by Dr. Glenn Jeffrey. He's the lead author, the University of College of London's Institute of Ophthalmology. And Dr. Jeffrey writes in his research paper that a single morning exposure of red light, and that's going to be at 670 nanometers, can improve declining vision. In fact, he said that it only takes looking at the red light for 3 minutes in the morning, and this can significantly improve deteriorating eyesight. So here's the backstory. When we are born, our retina grows out from the brain, so every cell of the retina are brain cells. This actually starts in utero, very early, after conception, that we start to see the developing eyes grow out from the brain. So every tissue of the eyeball originates from the brain, especially the retina cells. So the retina is not just connected to the brain. The retina is part of our central nervous system. You've heard me talk about this a lot. We can tell a person has eye stress just based on their pupil response. If they're in a dilated pupil response, their peripheral vision is going to be constricted, their eye stress is going to be off the charts, and they're going to be very sensitive to light. That's just one example. There are many examples how the central nervous system is very connected to the eye. Now, what's kind of cool about the retina is that it is the only part of the brain that actually lives outside the skull, or we call the cranial vault. But it is an access point, I'm referring to the retina, where we can actually make a reversal in the aging process. I get this question a lot, if your retina is damaged, and actually if any of the cells die at any point of your life, you can't really regenerate the retina. And these retina cells demand the highest amount of energy in the body to remain healthy throughout life. That's why I talk about how it's so important that we have to oxygenate and hydrate our eyes every day. We do it daily. That the foods you eat, if you're doing supplements, if you're doing eye drops, you want to do the highest quality organic, because your eyes require this high amount of energy to remain healthy. And if not, you start developing inflammation, oxidative stress, and of course, this leads to physical changes in the eyes like macular degeneration, glaucoma, cataracts, dry eye, and many other diseases. Now, by age 40, we now see that the retina does begin to age. And part of it is that the mitochondria, these are the energy cells, they're in our entire body, but they're in such a high concentration in the retina. The mitochondria produce something called ATP. ATP is needed to maintain high energy in the cells. It helps with giving the cells more energy, and it also acts as a detoxification process. Now, another thing that happens when we age, we start developing something called reaction oxygen species, ROS. And when the ROS starts going up in the retina, we start to see an accelerated aging process in the retina. So over and over again, I read in my science and medical journals that both in the rods and cones, these retina cells are the most metabolically active in the entire body. They demand and use the most energy. And we start developing age-related eye problems when those mitochondria become compromised and the ATP goes down and the ROS goes up and it accumulates. So the goal in reducing retina deterioration is to keep these cells youthful by increasing ATP and reducing ROS. And when we increase the ATP, this disrupts our normal aging process. So I want to talk about the Jeffrey Lab studies that they did where they showed that red light can improve declining eyesight. So they ran two subject groups. One group was in the 20-year-old range, and the second group was in the 40-year-old age range. And each group viewed the red light, the 670 nanometers. And in fact, if you looked at a red color, deep red, that's what you would see. And he performed two different studies intermingling the ages. One study was done for 12 weeks, and the other study was done for 3 weeks. And in both studies, the subjects sat 1 foot away from a low-intensity red light source. So in study 1, the length of exposure was 3 minutes per day, once a week for 12 weeks. In study 2, the length of exposure was the same, but it was only done for 3 weeks. Now, what is remarkable is when you collapse the studies into one report, the age range of people, 20 to 72, that was the subject range. The major improvements occurred in people in the age range 40 to 72. And the measurements that Dr. Jeffrey's team used is a specific type of visual acuity test called a Triton Exam. And in this test, researchers measure the ability to have fine resolution, because what they're doing is they're testing the cones. We call this the shortwave cones. Specifically, these are cells that respond to the green and blue wavelengths in the retina. Now, here's the most important thing I'm going to say. In this particular research study, there was a 22% improvement among the subjects. This is very promising because in most research projects involving the Triton test using visual acuity, researchers typically only measure a 5% improvement at best. Red light used in these studies increased ATP, reduced the ROS, and this occurred both in the rods and the cones. The red light therapy even rescued the function of these short and medium wavelength cones in the retina. And it's the cones that are the most resilient, so they don't even need any help for maintaining their health. So the important takeaway is that red light viewed at a safe distance for 3 minutes each day in the morning allowed a reversal process of the aging in our retinas. Now, I teach this a lot because when I talk about vision, this is even more than eyesight. Vision is how the eyes and the brain and the body work together. Both visual acuity which is our eyesight, and vision, which is how we process information. This helps us drive a car, read a book, learn new ideas, orient and balance our bodies through the world, and process information. And my colleagues and I are seeing an epidemic of age-related eye diseases. More and more people are getting eye injections for wet macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, macular edema. There's more cataract surgeries today than ever before. Glaucoma is increasing. People are, suffering high eye pressure, which damages the optic nerve. People are becoming more nearsighted, more astigmatism, or they're in bifocals for farsightedness. Even kids, and this is partly due to the increased screen time, that our eyes are getting worse and worse. And so this red light therapy, because it's non-invasive, it's very simple to do, is a great way to reverse the age-related problems, the vision loss that we see. Now, there's one more point I want to make, and this has to do with Drusen. Any of you out there go for an exam, and your doctor says, oh, you're starting to get Drusen. And I'm a little concerned because the Drusen is starting to come close to your macula, and this is going to lead to some type of macular degeneration. What do? So another significant finding in the Jeffrey lab was that red light reduced Drusen in the retina. Now, for those of you that don't know what Drusen is, it's basically like an accumulation of cholesterol that is deposited either in the peripheral retina, in the rods, or it can start to grow and develop in the macula cone area. And when you develop Drusen and it starts to get close to the macula, this can create problems in your ability to have good eyesight. Since the retina is heavily vascularized and needs a lot of nutrients, Drusen can occur as a byproduct of a lowered ATP and an elevated ROS. And the takeaway is that if you do this red light therapy, you can actually start to reverse Drusen. This is part of the Jeffrey Lab study, part of their results. So to summarize, to do the red light treatment early in the day, at least the first 3 hours of waking, 3 days a week, remember to blink when looking through the red lens, and you'll develop and improve your eyesight and vision. Now, here's the very good news. Over the last 6 months, I have developed my own red light therapy through a pair of glasses. And I've done a lot of research, looked at the type of red light, the type of red filtering that I needed to put into a lens, and finally it is here after many tries. So you can actually go to my web store and you can buy these, and you will be able to reverse age-related vision loss. So that's our show for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something from the EyeClarity podcast show today. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. See you here next time.